I would like to introduce our speakers for today's webinar about ownCloud, what is new. You can see here the pictures. It's Patrick, he's product manager at ownCloud, and Christian, who is support engineer here.
Yeah, thank you, Snezhana. So also a warm welcome from our side. I'm Patrick Meyer, and next to me I have Christian Scherm. And
hello to all.
Hi. And together we will walk you through today's webinar. The first part, I will introduce the highlights of the new server release. Then Christian will give you some insights into the new client release, into the highlights, followed by a live demo. And in the end, as mentioned, we will have some time for questions and answers. So before we dive deeper into the main part of today's webinar, I would like to give you some background around the project and the company for those who don't know ownCloud that well yet. So ownCloud is a content collaboration platform that consists of a server and clients for all popular platforms. It can be deployed in private or public clouds or even hybridly, but our main focus lies on private cloud deployments and security features while providing excellent and also easy usability for users. So in a nutshell, our main goal is to give customers full control over their data and enrich this with great collaboration features that increase the workforce productivity. So the software is based on an open source project which was founded in 2011, and there's a huge community around it consisting of individual developers and supporters that help with the project. And of course, there's also a German company that is based in Nuremberg and delivers the enterprise part around ownCloud, so to say. ownCloud itself has 25 million users worldwide, which are spread among 200,000 installations. ownCloud as a company managed to attract more than 400 customers worldwide and is listed in Gartner's Magic Quadrant for content collaboration platforms as the only open source vendor in the market. So yeah, as said, we managed to convince more than 400 paying customers from our software, and those come mainly from the areas of transportation and automotive, also a lot from technology and communication sector, as well as financial institutions and insurance companies. So yeah, mainly the areas where data protection is of special interest. Apart from that, there's also many customers from the public sector, for example, universities, or also other public organizations that trust ownCloud. So with this, I'd like to head over to the first part, first main part of the webinar, which is the highlights of ownCloud Server 10.10. This release is actually a minor release with many bug fixes and smaller improvements. Still, there's a bunch of notable changes which I will walk you through in the next couple of minutes. So first of all, ownCloud Server 10.10 introduces official support for PHP 7.2. So we keep up with current web technologies, the full stack, so ownCloud Server and all the supported extensions around it are thoroughly tested against PHP 7.2. So we can say with confidence that everything works as expected and can be used from now on. So friendly reminder, if you're already operating an ownCloud installation and are still on PHP 5.6 or 7.0, now is the time to plan an upgrade, because these versions already don't have active support anymore, and security support will also end by the end of 2018. So yeah, now is really the time to update to newer versions. Apart from that, we've worked on the creation of users. This refers to local users, so not the ones that are imported from LDAP. This is especially important in managed service environments, or, yeah, as mentioned, installations that are not connected with LDAP. So you can see that on the screenshot. Previously, when administrators created users, they had to enter a username and a password, which in the end is undesirable because the administrator chooses the password for the user and then needs to have some communication channel to provide this password. So based on feedback, we changed this. So now administrators just enter a username and an email address, and the user will receive an email with an activation link and can choose their password in self-service. So this is on the one hand more secure because users, as said, choose their password themselves. And also it's a better flow because users are informed, and also their email address is set directly and they can start receiving notifications, for example. If you need the previous behavior, this is also still possible. You can use the settings cog on the bottom left and just activate the option to enter a password for new users. And last but not least on this slide, we introduced an HTTP API for the search functionality. So the ones of you that already used ownCloud may know that in the web interface, we have a search functionality where you can search for file names currently. And this is now extended with an API that makes it possible to ask the server for search results and retrieve those via HTTP. And this in the future will be used by the clients to search for files that are not locally available. So clients can search for files on the server without the need of first synchronizing them. And together with the new full text search extension that will also soon be released for ownCloud Server, this will provide great usability improvements for users because it will enable to search for contents on the server, say, for example, from your iOS device, and find what you need. Also, search within the document, find the document you actually need, and then synchronize it. So, yeah. One further improvement is the native brute force protection. So, first of all, maybe not everybody knows what a brute force attack is. A brute force attack is or happens when attackers try to gain access to user accounts by just guessing passwords. So this usually happens in an automated or scripted way, or attackers even use dictionaries to guess user passwords and gain access to their data thereby. And there's actually an easy way to mitigate this risk, and that's you delay the login attempt. So when an attacker does a login attempt that is unsuccessful, there will be a delay before the second attempt can happen. And in the past, we recommended to use tools like fail to ban, which monitor our log files for unsuccessful login attempts. And this is now replaced by a very easy solution, by an ownCloud app, which you can retrieve from our marketplace. It's very easy to set up, and in contrast to fail to ban, it also does not require any privileges on the underlying host system. So it's just an ownCloud app. You install it, do some minor configuration, and your installation is secured from brute force attacks. One more nice addition is the improved upload function in the web interface. So yeah, the the upload in the web interface can now resume uploads. So this is especially important when you are on a bad connection, say, for example, on mobile, or if you're sitting in a train and you have connection drops, which can lead to timeouts or stalled uploads. And in the past, when this happened, the user would need to upload the full file again. But thanks to our chunking mechanism, which we also have in the web interface, files are split into small pieces, and those small pieces are uploaded instead of uploading the whole file. And since ownCloud Server 10.10, it's now possible to resume at the point where the upload stalled. So this saves time and makes uploading more solid, so to say. The last point of the highlights of ownCloud Server 10.10 is a new option for administrators in the sharing settings, which enables to prevent sharing with system groups. So first of all, groups in ownCloud are used to separate users from each other, but they can have many purposes. One of them is sharing with multiple users at once, but there can also be feature restrictions. So you can make certain features only available for certain groups of users, or you can, for example, integrate storages for some users, but for others you don't. So in that sense, administrators don't necessarily want all groups to be available for sharing. So, and with the new feature, you can use this blacklist to prevent users from, say, sharing with a management group, for example, or a system group you just use to mount some storages or to restrict feature usage. So, administrative functionality to restrict sharing with groups you don't want to be available for sharing. So with that, we are through with the highlights of ownCloud Server 10.10, and I would now hand over to Christian to walk you through the highlights of the new desktop client release.
Thank you, Patrick, for this overview of the new features on the server side. I would like to introduce you to the new features in the client 2.5.0 now. Okay, the first point is the better think performance. We increased the think performance dramatically. Mainly we did this by reducing unnecessary file scanning. This works in many ways. For example, if you only change a small file in a directory tree with many files, it will be uploaded much faster. Imagine syncing a file in a large folder with many files. Before a request was made in the whole sync folder, now a request on the enclosing folder is enough. We work more on file system level to make this possible. In addition, we now can handle HTTP2 with support for data compression and multiple requests via a single TCP connection. This also speeds up the sync process. But keep in mind that the server has to speak HTTP as well. Okay, to the next slide. The compatibility with professional deployment tools, the Windows installer. Many administrators of large companies will love the fact that we now deliver MSI packages. Microsoft Software Installer is, as the name suggests, used to install, save, and uninstall software on Windows side. It more and more replaced the exit packages. With MSI, it is possible to roll out our client centrally and automatically. The installation can be provided with parameters such as the directory in which to install, whether to run the installation in the background or to disable customizations such as automatic updates. After the presentation, you will receive further information about the MSI as a link to our documentation. We increased the user experience a little bit by improving the sharing dialog a bit. It now looks tidier and includes the avatar, for example, of the one I share a file with. This increased the overview, and yeah, like I said, it looks much cleaner and better. I show you this in the demo after the slide. We have also added some new items on the context menu. It is now possible to create a public link that will be sent directly to the clipboard. This saves time. It is also possible to access the file on the server directly via the context menu via the browser. At the last line, we put the sync folder into the user folder. That's where it belongs to. That's how it works. But it was necessary to put it manually in the favorites to find it fast. We take this step off your hands. With the new version, we put our ownCloud folder in the Explorer bar, right next to the OneDrive bar. This makes it easy to find, not only in Windows but also in Microsoft Office products. I show it to you in the slide after the next in the demo after the next slide. The next big thing and the last slide is the virtual file system. When storage space becomes insufficient, people like to move data to the cloud. We very much welcome that, of course, but you have to use the web UI to get an overview of the data in the clouds because it is not locally synced. We will give this an end and introduce you to the virtual file system. With the virtual file system, the contents of all folders are displayed virtually with placeholders. The local sync folder is consistent, and you now can see the complete content of the server. If you need a file, it can be downloaded with one click. Just as quickly, it can be marked as virtual again. So the memory released immediately, and the placeholders symbolize the file again. A double click on the file opens with the associated program, just like you used to. The file operations share, move, and delete are possible with the virtual files. So, for example, you can easily send a large PSD or ADE file as a public link without having to download the file first. We're working on achieving a similar user experience as the big player Dropbox or OneDrive in the next versions. This means that in the future, the real icon and the real file size are displayed. Which is done. Keep in mind that the virtual file system is still experimental. So there may still be problems here and there, but if you stumble upon problems, if you want to test and you stumble upon problems, please let us know. We are looking forward to your feedback here. I would now like to give you a short demo of the slides and the content. I have to share my screen. Give me a second. Okay. Now you can see a virtual Microsoft machine. There's already a client installed with the file system or with a sync folder. I want to show you with this sync folder the integration in the File Explorer. As you can see, ownCloud is right next to the OneDrive in this quick access bar on the left-hand side. And same is here on the Office side. If I go to Open and search for a document I want to open, I find ownCloud right next here in this bar, and it makes it easy to find the ownCloud folder. I want to show you now is the improved context menu. As you can see, there's a copy public link to clipboard now. Also, you can open a folder or file directly in the browser by clicking here in the context menu. Okay, let's move on to the share dialog. Here, let's say share with a good friend of mine, Seeger. As you can see, there are pictures right now in the sharing dialog. Share with another person. This person is me in this example. Okay, as you can see, it's much easier to find out with what persons I shared a file or folder. Can easily delete, and also for the public link. Yeah, this improvement here is really nice, like I think so. Let's move on to the virtual file system. I add a new server to show you this. It's on my Docker environment on the host machine. To add the IP and ports. Okay. Controls. Now you have the possibility to use this folder on the server as virtual file system. As I said before, it's also experimental. We want to hint you with this this window here. I have to manually enable the experimental mode. Nothing more to do. Click on connect. And waiting for the synchronization. Okay, there it is. I have virtual files now, but I can see the whole content of the folder. If I want to make files offline available, I can do a right click and download the file. Here it is. And I can easily switch back to the virtual file. Yeah, the file is gone. When I do a double click on the file gets downloaded. Also, but if everything works, just a moment. Yeah, it's got downloaded. And then it gets opened with the associated program just like you used to. Okay, I guess this is most of what we can do with the virtual file system. As a small demo, I think just enough. When you have further questions, please let us know. Let's switch back to the demo now. And yeah, I hope this first impression made you want to try out the virtual file system and use it productively, maybe. And yeah, well, thank you already for your interest. And Patrick will now try to answer some questions.
Great. Thank you, Christian. So, heading over to the questions. First question by Renato. When will version 2.5 be available in ownBrandr for brand clients, so for the clients that our customers use? Yeah, 2.5.0 will not be available in ownBrandr for branded clients. We made this decision based on feedback from the community. There are still some things we want to iron out before providing the client to our customers. So we will release a version 2.5.1 very soon. and this will then be also available for the branded clients in ownBrandr. I hope that question is answered. If not, you can, of course, put up another question. Question by Simon. Is virtual file system available on Mac and Linux as well? Yes, it is. It is available in the state that it has now. There are plans to improve the feature in a way that it really has excellent performance that you know from other software as well that has such capabilities. But this will in the first place then only be available for Windows. Still, we have also plans for Unix-based operating systems to make use of a fuse layer in between and also deliver the virtual file system with great capabilities for these platforms.
Okay, now Magnus has a question about it is possible to expire a share. The answer is easy. The answer is yes.
So yes for public link shares. For the internal shares, not yet is the answer. But this is part of the roadmap. So yeah, soon there will be capabilities for all kinds of shares to expire them and to make sure that they don't last forever. So next question by Martin. Is it possible to use two-factor authentication? So first of all, yes, there are different ways how you can use two-factor authentication with ownCloud. The most easy way is to use the two-factor authentication ownCloud app or ownCloud extension, which can make use of the time-based one-time password standard. So you can, for example, use Google Authenticator to derive the second factor to log in based on time. But this is in the user's hand, so it can't be rolled out centrally, which is a hard requirement for many enterprise customers. And for those, we have a partner called Privacy Idea. And they have a really professional solution for multi-factor authentication. So not only two-factor, but you can also use more than two and also other factors than the time-based one-time password. So you can, for example, use YubiKeys and things like that. And this is also fully integrated with ownCloud.
Okay. Renato wants to know if the virtual file system can left be out in the branded version. The answer is yes. If it's still experimental, we will add an option to ownBrandr that you can exclude this from the builds.
Okay.
Yeah, Sima wants to know, I tried ownCloud, but I'm getting complex file due to same file getting synced multiple variant times. I didn't get the question, to be honest. You, Patrick?
No, I'm sorry. Maybe you can use other words to put up the question again, and we can check. But there's another question. So Martin wants to know if it is possible to use ownCloud Server in a multi-tenancy environment, and the answer is yes, but probably not as you imagine to do it. So for multi-tenancy, we recommend to set up one instance per tenant. So as you might know, ownCloud is capable of federating installations. So one ownCloud installation is not a locked down entity in itself, but in contrast, it can communicate with other ownCloud installations. So to derive a multi-tenancy scenario, you would set up one ownCloud installation per tenant, and each tenant can then manage their own users and groups and all kinds of things you could configure, and still communicate with other users on the installation of another tenant. So that's our approach on multi-tenancy, so to say. Okay.
Yeah. If there are more questions.
Okay. All right, I think we came to an end from a time perspective as well. Thank you very much for answering the questions, and I want to also say thank you to all, to everybody who attended today for your interest. We will share the link to the recording soon, and yeah, hope to see you next time here in a webinar or anywhere else. Have a nice day. Bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you from our side. Have a good time. Bye.